Welcome to the Marketing Powers Podcast. I'm your host, Mukwemba Mangangu, and I'm joined by my co-host, Grace Gondwe.
We're both marketing enthusiasts with a passion for sharing our knowledge and insights with you. This podcast is designed to equip our listeners with the information they need to excel at marketing in their different spaces. Our aim is to bring marketing home.
With that said, let's delve into today's episode.
Hi, Mukwemba.
Hi, Grace.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. How was your week?
Week's been busy.
It's
busy.
It's not even that far into the week. It's not that far into the week, and you're already sounding like you want to check out.
Alas, I guess that's what we signed up for.
Yeah.
Doubting 101.
That's a doubting for sure. Good to be here. Good to be getting into this conversation. This is our first episode.
Our very first episode. It's about time.
Yes.
Long time running.
Yes.
We have wasted a lot of time.
It's been incubating for a while.
I'm so excited. I'm pumped that we're able to do this now and bring people into this space and obviously hope to give the audience exactly what they came here for.
Good content. Good things take time.
Good things take time.
But yeah, we're ready to go. We have some exciting things to share about today, about ourselves, about what we have, the vision we have for this podcast, and the things that we're trying to do, how we want to impact the marketing space. So yeah, it's very, very exciting.
It's about time.
Yeah.
So, shall we?
We shall. Well, my name is Grace. Obviously, I mentioned your name, but I don't think you said my name. My name is Grace Gondwe, and I am a marketer by profession. I studied at the Copperbelt University. I have a Bachelor of Science in Marketing, and I've done a few things here and there in marketing over the last couple of years. I am at the moment working in customer service. I'm working for a non-profit organization, but I'm working in kind of a customer service capacity. And I work with a multinational portfolio of organizations. So we are an organization that serves in the education space. And so I'm essentially a customer relationship manager for those organizations that we work with.
A mouthful.
Yes.
As always. Okay, so as you mentioned earlier, my name is Mukwemba, Mukwemba Mangangu. To our listeners, I'm a marketing enthusiast. I am a marketer by profession, as you mentioned. So I also have a master's degree in marketing. I've been working in the retail space for close to 10 years. Like straight out of grade 12, I went straight to working. So I really haven't had the time of just chilling like most people have. 2021, 2022, I was awarded Emerging Marketer of the Year by the Zambia Institute of Marketing.
Yeah.
And as it is, the current CEO for Pants Ventures Limited, which is the reason we're having this podcast in the first place.
Yeah. I'm obviously we've known each other for a couple of years, and we've done a few ventures
here and there,
a few other ventures, and I mean we have a lot of shared experience between us in the different spaces in marketing that we have been working in. And I think just a shared passion for marketing and what we would like for it to look like in Zambia. And I think it's just from, that shared passion and just going into those conversations with the different projects that we've worked on together that kind of brought us to the point where we thought, hey, maybe a podcast would be a good offering for the Zambian community. For those who are already in marketing, for those who are considering getting into marketing, for those who are curious about it, especially considering the Zambian context where there are so many small and medium enterprises and, businesses are trying to see how they can set themselves apart, And so we said, hey, what is something that we can give to our community? What is something that we can do to share the information and share our experience and, just bring something of value to our community? So we've seen that there are a few challenges, there are a few spaces that need to be addressed, a few gaps. If you're talking about research.
If you're talking about research. So just like you said, so we have identified a gap in the podcast space, and specifically to something more of a academic nature, in that a lot of what we listen to, what's on the market right now, is entertainment based or very highly motivational.
Yes.
So now we're thinking, how do we have conversations that have people come out feeling like, okay, you know what, I learned something that I can go and apply.
Yes. It's building on my soft skills.
Yes. So we're building on those soft skills that you may have and others that you are now developing to better yourself. Bring yourself in this space to allow other people to grow with us as we carry on with these conversations.
Yeah. And I think another thing that we wanted to do when we were, just brainstorming and thinking about what we would do is, like he said, that almost academic perspective, and also just, bringing it down to where it's contextually applicable. It's easy to talk about, from an academic perspective, when you're talking about marketing, they'll talk about 4 Ps and, all of these different things. But we said, like, look, what does it look like in a very contextually applicable way? How can we bring it home, to, like I said, the small and medium business owner, the individual who's thinking about how they can brand themselves, to better position themselves for career progress. How can we bring it home so that it doesn't seem like this, this big thing that people talk about in just a purely academic sense, and bring it, down to where we can see applicability on the day-to-day. So those are some of the things that we factored in as we were brainstorming this. Anything else?
Yes, I like the fact that you've mentioned the whole academic aspect. I did not mention that I'm lecturing students in marketing at the Cooper Belt University.
And starting your PhD?
Well, I will put a pause on that.
Putting it out there for people to hold him accountable. He's supposed to be starting his PhD.
We'll see about that.
Okay.
So when we get into the space of academia, it's just like you said, how far is it from people's understanding? Because whenever you come in class, you find first day of class, you ask people, what's your understanding of marketing? And in certain situations, even just people outside the classroom, a lot of people want to attribute marketing and put it into this really small circle, and where they'll say advertising.
Yes.
That's marketing.
Or sales.
Or sales. And I was like, okay, so when you see people advertising, that's what you consider marketing. So there isn't the inner and outer workings of everything that's going on, the background work. People just see, okay, this is what I've been exposed to, and this is my understanding of what marketing is, as opposed to, this whole holistic approach to everything that it presents. And just like, I cringe when I see I meet someone like, what do you do? Marketing. Oh, okay, awesome. What exactly are you doing in marketing? And sometimes it's just someone will say, I post on Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
Yeah.
And they're confident, but then at the same time, we understand it's a small component of the bigger
picture. Yes.
And so you don't necessarily now start stepping on those toes. Now, even to those, it's the question of, with the fact that you're already posting, how do we bring you into this inclusive circle where you have a bigger understanding of what it is you're doing?
Its relevance.
Yes, its relevance. And how you can now have a bigger impact on the audience or the people you're trying to target.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That's a really, 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 really good one. Really, really important one. Is that to build that understanding that there's so much more to it. You can talk about sales, and that's part of marketing. You can talk about social media marketing now is a very, very big thing, and that's definitely something we're going to dedicate some time to discussing. Advertising, marketing communications, and all of that. All of those things are parts of what is this broader concept that is marketing. And I think what we're going to do is try and have a good balance of the academic, some of the academic things, but also some of the practical things, and even having conversations with guests, industry experts. I know we have some even academic experts who would probably be interested in having some of these conversations with us. So all of those things are some of the things that we have in store that we want to share with our audience and our listeners. Speaking to the passion for education, I'm not lecturing, but
might as well be.
I have this friend who's always dragging me to guest lecture for him. And I think that's a shared passion that we have.
Yes.
And I think that actually goes back to even our undergraduate days. Those are things that we talked about how can we contribute to even the education side of things, even specifically in marketing. So that's something that we are looking to share with the world as well. Having mentioned that goes back to our undergraduate days, maybe we can share a little bit about how we know each other, and the broader picture of what the podcast is in relation to our business and what we're trying to achieve with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously this dates back to 2015.
Yeah.
I was in class. I must mention that Grace did not like me. I was that guy.
Yeah, I was that guy. Ale pake chongo class.
Very noisy.
Yeah.
Just okay. So yeah. So but then over time, obviously now you start understanding. Okay, this is the type of person this person is. You are actually like even in class, like from like even just being smart overall. When we have conversations, you know that you're going to leave with something tangible, something that can help you in also just like general just dynamics of life. And so the conversations we have always tend to feel like they're worth something. And so we started from that perspective. Obviously having come into the industry, had various conversations, and going back to the fact that we acknowledge the gap that is missing and the passions we have and the conversations that we feel can take us further. We then decide, okay, let's do the podcast. Let's enrich people's lives with the information we have. At the same time, acknowledging that we don't have all the information. And during this process, we equally expect to grow. Bringing back to the point that you brought up, we've talked about marketing experts, industry leaders. So I'm excited that we are going to have some very interesting guests that obviously can speak to this. We can ask questions that actually bring value to the people that are listening to us, and hopefully learn something from the people that we bring on here.
It's really not an out of the blue, like we didn't just wake up and say, okay, let's do a podcast. We've actually worked on quite a few projects together, specifically in marketing research, I think has been the bulk of where we've worked. And so I think we have a good understanding of the marketing landscape, considering that you've been working in retail. I've worked in aviation, I've worked in, the civil society, NGO space. I'm working now, with a multinational organization. So we have a good understanding of what the landscape looks like, but it's coming from years of collaboration, on in marketing research, in research in general. We have, I think a good team dynamic.
Yes, we sure do have that going on. And marketing research, oh Lord, the bulk of the work and everything we are forced to have to do, the reading we have to do. And obviously, whether you like it or not, at some point you're going to have to assimilate some of that knowledge and forced to apply it. And in my case, bring it to the classroom as well. What's my understanding of this? I know I've read on this, I've done this. How do I make it applicable for you, the layman, to understand exactly what's going on?
That's very, very true. So that's our team dynamic. So this podcast is kind of an arm of the business that we run. Like he said, we run a marketing agency and we do, all of those different things, the marketing research, graphics as well for advertising purposes, etc., etc. So all of those, that mix of services that would come from a marketing agency, are services that we provide. And so this podcast is kind of an arm of the business that we want to use as a means to equip and bring information to the marketing profession and also just the broader business profession and, just people across the board who want to learn and just better themselves. So yeah, I think we've discussed quite a bit. I think the last thing probably would be just wanting to highlight that shared commitment to continuous learning that we both have.
Yes.
Obviously, Mukwemba has his master's degree and
Yes,
is
lucky.
starting his PhD. I am. No, I am.
Uh-huh.
He's starting his PhD, even though he said let's put a pin in that. But yeah, I think just something that we want to emphasize is learning and just like that aspect of bettering ourselves is very, very important for us. I think is a shared core value for us. And so that's something that we want to bring is for people as they are listening to, feel like there's continuous learning, there's continuous growth for them. But also for us, we are, we do have, I think, combined experience of about 15 years, but individually we are still in the early years
Yes.
of our careers. And so we have that commitment to continuous learning, and that's something that we want to bring to our listeners as well.
Yes. So just like you said, obviously speaking to the industry leaders would like to talk to and comparing ourselves to them. We still call ourselves babies in the industry. And now we've reached a point where we think, okay, you know what? We are ready for some solids.
Yes.
Let's start chewing down on some meat now and gain the proteins we need. So this in relation to our growth projections and just hoping that creates for us and our listeners more opportunities for growth in that regard. And just like you said, you do need to go to school.
Listen,
And
it's in the plan.
because I feel like even when our listeners listen to what you have to say, they can pick up and say, oh, okay, I learned something. And now you're wondering, like, why is this person wasting time?
Yeah.
Exactly, because it's been a perspective that even from my wife, and she loves you very much, and so she's always
Stop.
so she's always when I hear from Grace, I learn something as well. So just that aspect of the impact you bring as well, and we hope our listeners can learn from what we have to talk about and what the people that we bring on the podcast have to say as well. Because then obviously, like you say, there's a number of topics we want to touch on. Branding, tourism, and so everything within the marketing landscape. So now how do we make this conversation as well important in such a way that someone in engineering can listen to it
value.
And say, I get value from the conversations they are having without necessarily feeling secluded because
the language,
they're in engineering, exactly.
Maybe
the
language is not, maybe we're using too much technical language, and
the lingo is all the way out, and people feel, okay, what does that mean? Obviously, bring a lot of that context and just see as well how people who have not even particularly studied marketing have found ways in which they've evolved through personal and continuous learning to reach to a point that they can continue to thrive in this space as is. Yeah,
that's really true. And I think probably the thing that I love so much about having, being a marketer is it's very dynamic. Marketing is a very, very dynamic space. And you don't really, I think it's one of the few professions where you don't necessarily need to have the marketing degree for you to be able to excel. You can be an engineer, you can be a medical practitioner, you can be, so many of these different things. But there's a place for marketing, as a concept, as a service in all of these different spaces. Because even in engineering, if you have a firm, you'll be looking for clients, you'll be doing business development, you'll be doing customer service as you are going through, creating business opportunities, getting contracts, etc., etc. There's a place for marketing there, in the health space. If you're a medical practitioner, health, that's a service you're providing.
Yeah.
So that's marketing,
Exactly.
We can talk about the service landscape and, without getting into too much of the technicalities, but there's a place for marketing in almost every industry. And I think that's one of the things that excites me so much about it, because it's very dynamic. And if you are a person who wants to provide the service, who wants to create a product, and you have the customer in mind as you are starting, that customer facing perspective as you are starting your business or creating your service or your product, then that's marketing that is at play. So I really, really enjoy that. And I think that's one of the things that I hope that as we do these episodes, that it will come through to our listeners, that this is something that is applicable in all of these different spaces, and it's something that we can use. And I hope that we can be, a conduit for them to get that information and those tools and be able to apply them and make a difference in the work they're doing.
Now that you've said that, you have some of my creative juices flowing, and I'm thinking, how much more should I say?
Yeah.
Because you just reminded me, I was listening to one of the fathers of marketing, Philip Kotler.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
who was an economist?
Who
was an economist? But go on.
Who now said one of the people that was important for him in marketing, who is actually not a marketer but a strategist, was Peter Drucker.
A management strategist, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so Peter Drucker said the two most important things in any company or institution is innovation and marketing.
Look at that.
Yeah. So now with that in mind, how do we, because the truth is, whether we accept it or not, there's a level at which marketing enhances lives.
Yeah.
The truth is, we just have a situation in which people don't see it, or sometimes it takes long to materialize in certain situations, or because of the length it's taken, you don't necessarily think of it as marketing is the reason this is
happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not always the first thing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Then look like it's the first thing. But really, when you go into it and see what is at the bedrock, then you realize, oh yeah, that was, the marketing mind or the marketing thinking that drove that. That's really cool. Yeah, so we have some factoids for you. Yes. Father of marketing was an economist who was influenced by a management strategist, management expert, Peter Drucker and Philip Kotler. I think that's a good high to conclude this episode on.
Yes, I actually can't wait to be bringing some of these and just
nuggets,
throwing them out and see what people catch.
Yes.
Like, just throw them in the air.
What's
all these nuggets just
them.
laid out for you.
Yeah, so we look forward to sharing more of this information. Please do come along with us on this journey. We want to learn and grow together with you guys, and to just make marketing in Zambia much, much better, bring it to a place where it's world class. So please do join us. Any last comments?
So with that in mind, we really hope you enjoy our podcast. We really hope you can connect with us on our socials. Send us emails. You'll find the links to all our notes, our show notes, wherever you listen to your podcast from. So you can get in touch with us. Send us questions. What would you like to hear us discuss? And who do you think would be a great guest for our podcast, just so we can learn from them and you can learn from the conversations we're having as well. So we're excited. Yeah. We are hyped.
Yeah.
And looking forward to what comes out of this. So we hope that you can keep your finger
on the marketing
pulse.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We hope that you have enjoyed today's episode just as much as we have.
Till next time, remember to keep your finger on the marketing pulse.